What's going on, everybody? So, I recorded a podcast not that long ago with Steven and Flip. Unfortunately, Flip's phone died halfway through it, so I'm going to cut the podcast up into two parts. First part's going to be with both of them, and then the second one is going to be with just Steven. I think both of them are pretty cool. Also, I think that the topics kind of diverge at that point too. Like we get into a little bit more serious conversation in the second part than there was in the first. So again, I don't like editing these things. I don't like chopping parts out or anything like that. I try to make them as raw as possible. But just due to the nature of this one, it makes sense to chop them into two different parts. So I'm gonna do that. So the ending of this first one may be a little bit weird, and the second one's probably going to start off a little weird, but yeah, that's what's going on, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. You guys mind saying something? Just make sure I'm not overpowering your audio.
Hello. Hello.
Carol Baskin is innocent.
Carol Baskin is innocent. Okay, that's good enough. I'm not gonna.
Joe Exotic is Earth 2, Joe Dirt.
Oh shit. Okay. Thanks for doing this.
Of course.
Appreciate
I love
it.
talking.
Joe, I'll always say yes to any podcast you invite me on.
I appreciate that. So yeah, how are you guys doing? You guys thriving? You still alive and kicking?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Virus hasn't taken me yet, so
It's it's
I
weird.
gotta keep waking up.
I was thinking about this yesterday and a little bit this morning about how I've been wanting to make a video of like lessons from quarantine, just like different things that like I guess I've come to acknowledge and realize since we've been stuck in our homes. Good.
Are either of those things like at-home cooking or alcohol moderation?
So I've been pretty good about cooking.
Yeah.
Prior to this thing, but like I guess this is going to be a little sappy to start things off, I guess, but it's like the concept and comfortableness of being alone and being okay with that is really hard for me. So, well, I guess it's easier now that I've been forced to do it. I've had no choice but doing it.
Yeah, definitely not a lot as far as whether or not you want to be there.
Yeah, it's like
right
it's
now.
like fuck you doing it. But has there been anything that's like been, I guess, stand out difficult for you guys since this whole thing has started?
You know,
I did this
as
anyway.
someone who spends
so-
a lot of time at home just playing video games and watching things on the internet, not a lot of changes to me.
Okay.
For the most part, really difficult to get groceries right now.
Have you
mildly to pretty genuinely concerned about my ability to wipe my ass in about 2 weeks. But other than that, I'm pretty okay. I'm doing all right.
Well, buddy, I don't have much in the lines of well, no, I have a little bit of TP left over. I'm not concerned about that.
Are you offering?
If I have some paper towels, if you guys need that, I have a surplus of that. If you're fine with destroying your asshole,
beat him up.
So
Yeah,
there is definitely we kind of have like what is it, like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs or whatever, but it's toilet paper edition.
Yeah,
so it's like toilet paper, and then when that's completely gone, it's like tissues. If that's completely gone, you're like, I guess paper towels. If those are gone, you're like, do I have any socks laying around? And then if like you keep going down, and eventually you hit like sandpaper,
old
like
shirts,
animals outside. Yeah, just like you really start getting into a dark place.
Just
like,
a handful of grass.
Yeah, they'll do the trick. It'll give you a little pine. What about you, Flip? Like, has there been anything?
I mean, so now that I'm part-time, I was like, I became part-time unrelated to this virus.
I think I remember you talking about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I guess I'll do Uber Eats or something, or maybe I'll start playing some like different kinds of gigs to actually get some money.
Yeah.
And then they canceled shows and made touching each other illegal.
Yep.
So I'm having a really hard time making money.
Yep.
And on top of that, the Uber Eats dream is dead because my car died.
That's
so
dude.
that's a really
honestly,
fun.
I'll be honest with you. Uber Eats dream was dead, not necessarily from your car, unless you already had an account with them. Because I tried doing that. I tried getting up a driver account with Uber Eats, and
yeah,
I'll double check it now. But as the last checked, it still said something about like my information that was pending, even though I sent this stuff in long before a lockdown was in effect. Now that I'm checking now, I'm sure it's gonna be like, hey, everything's good to go, buddy. You could have been doing that this entire time. Nope. Yeah,
Joe, I don't particularly enjoy being lied to, but I'm flattered.
I'll show it to you. The Honda CRZ. Oh, this is the wrong. Oh, that's way too bright.
Oh,
all right. Hold on.
That's just the afterlife.
Oh, man, I don't know how you. Yeah, just keep saying this. It's like, hey, your thing is pending, and it's been pending for forever, which is really annoying.
Interesting.
So, I guess I'm lucky. I am unemployed, which sucks, but also it could have been way worse. Like, I've had my brother help me out with my car, so I don't have to really worry about that as a payment or anything like that. Like, rent is paid through May. Like, I'll be okay. Also, my unemployment is probably very different than a lot of other people out there, where it's like, hey, you are just not employed now, whereas mine is more of like, hey, you're not employed now, but when things are cool, you can come back and you'll give your job back.
Yeah, we sure have a weird situation.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been pondering whether or not I would even come back at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that in the air for sure.
The thing is though, to not stay too long on it, because I guess I don't. It's weird because I don't want to talk about too much of that, because there is a chance that I may work there again.
Yeah.
But I will say that I did compare what I did to a lot of the options that I had open, and it was just kind of like, yeah, this isn't great, but the amount of money that I made and the job that I did, it was pretty good.
It's really it's I feel like there's a couple jobs that you can have, and certainly we're all familiar with the kind of work we do.
Mm-hmm.
And you compared to a lot of other things, you're like, man, I've pushed shopping carts in 100-degree Florida weather. I've dealt with just some fucking crazy ass backwards people. I worked at a Sedano's at one point, and we got robbed, or someone tried to rob us, and I was the only person that spoke English. So like, imagine a scenario where like a dude comes into a grocery store, and he's like, give us all your money. And they're like, no entiendo. And then I'm like, oh, shit. And he didn't have a gun or anything, but he was just like screaming at the lady at customer service. They had no fucking idea what he was saying. And then the manager looks at me, and I was like, don't ask me to translate the robbery, please. Please, God. And then I think about what I do now, and I'm like, it's a little bad.
Oh, man. There's a video of this guy in Russia who decided, I know what I'll do. I'll go into this convenience store and rob the place with a hammer. And it just so happened that the person who was working there had like pepper spray. This guy had on like, I forget what the masks are called that everyone's wearing now. The
balaclava.
No, the what? What was it?
Balaclava?
No, he had like the actual mask, like the one that.
Oh, just like
that people are supposed to be wearing, I guess, or whatever. So he had just that on in a hoodie, and he goes in there. Guy sprays him right in the eye, and he's just like, "Oh fuck, I can't see." And then one of the customers who was just in there proceeds to pick up a metal chair and just beats this guy over the head like multiple times. And then the
WrestleMania.
It literally was WrestleMania in the story. It's hilarious, but the video got pulled off of YouTube.
Unreal.
If I can find it later, I'll send it to you. But Yeah. It's weird. I haven't experienced any like craziness from people yet. Like that being said, I haven't gone out often. I probably will go out tomorrow and try to find groceries or whatnot. But I don't. Have you guys run into that yet, or has it been pretty calm and tame?
There was one guy.
Okay.
Who was driving around in circles at the Walmart down the street, like the 1792 Walmart.
Yeah.
He was riding his bike, which on like behind his bike he had 3 wagons, and in the front wagon he had like just a bunch of assorted like clothing and shit.
Okay.
In the second wagon he had a large like cage with a dog and 2 cats, and on top of that a cooler. And then on the third wagon he had several boxes full of masks and gloves.
That seems safe.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Selling them.
Okay, all right.
Oh.
That also seems safe. There's like
y'all want a tiger?
Yo. Oh man, I'm not.
I've got a picture of the guy with the carts. As we were driving away, I got a good picture of him.
Okay,
I can send that to you.
Yeah. Show it to everybody. Let's make this man famous. Yeah. Did you guys see the dude that like had that had the whole like warehouse? He like bought all the hand sanitizer and like.
Oh yeah, that dude got fucking blown out.
Yeah, he got destroyed.
Imagine buying 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, and then Amazon and eBay are like, "Yeah, you're just not allowed to sell that."
Did you see? What am I gonna do with all this hand sanitizer?
I don't know, dude. Fuck off. I don't know.
I love,
donate it.
There was a great the interview. Some news channel was talking to him and he was like, "Hey, your name of your family or your name of your company is called Family First. Do you feel bad that there are other families that won't be able to get this stuff because you hoarded it all?" And he literally looks at them and he's just like, "Do I feel bad about buying all this stuff? No, I don't." I was just like, okay.
That's, I guess, you know, you got to respect the hustle, I guess. I mean, maybe not in like a pandemic situation, but
what was
that's
that?
Just like social deprivation. Like, what are we talking about? We're like,
it's like,
just endangering the public. Fuck it.
The amount that he was trying to sell that stuff for too was wild. Like it was like $40 for like a bottle of hand sanitizer, and it was just like, buddy, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's it's this terrible snowball effect where everyone's kind of like, hey, if everyone's just like chill for a little bit, everyone could get what they need, and you'll be good, and you'll get all the shit you need, and your groceries, your toilet paper, and all that. But everyone's like, oh, well, I don't want to go out again, so I'll get a little extra. And then everyone gets a little extra, and then there's none. So then the people that just wanted the normal amount are like, well, if I see any, I have to get a lot just in case I can't get it next time. And all of a sudden, everybody is just at home, 52 boxes of like extra toasty cheese that's behind them. They're like, I don't know when I'm going to leave my house again. I have no fucking idea. And we're just riding it out,
So like
with the cheese.
None of us are like medical professionals. But I have, I guess, thoughts of when, or an estimate or hope of when I think things will start skewing back to normal. My guess is mid-May is when things will probably start opening back up. It could be earlier May. I guess the only reason I don't think that is a good thing. I'm not saying that. Oh yeah, we should open back up in May. I'm just thinking of what, because like in the state that we live in, it was pulling hairs for them to close things down in the first place. And to agree, I get why. It's not good for people's health, but I understand why. Like we live in a state where tourism is how we survive and don't pay certain taxes. It's because we have so much tourism. So in order for the state to shut down, the state loses a fuck ton of money. So I get it. That being said, I think that after this first quarantine is done, I don't think that they're going to issue an extension. I think they're going to let this thing ride, and then as soon as they can open up, they will, because dollar signs.
Yeah, it's really, that's been sort of one of the most fun parts about all this, is just seeing everybody painfully realize the very careful balance between just people wanting money and people wanting to be alive. And we really have seen just the wonderful tightrope act of the very painful dilemma of being like, well, having a job right now is nice, I guess, but that also means I can't be home, which means I'm certainly more at risk of getting sick, but I have income, I guess, but at the same and then it's
I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
I lean on that latter camp of I would much rather have a job right now than be home. I'd be happier, I think, if I had something to do.
That's fair. That is fair.
I don't know.
Definitely, I know a lot of people going stir crazy for sure.
Yeah, even having a job, I'm losing track of the days.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I guess.
Especially, like, my schedule changed to 1 to 10 p.m. and so like
Holy
my entire rhythm is off. I'm only working 3 days a week. I can't go anywhere. So
when you're not there, yeah, it's just like, all right, cool. My one thing of going out is going to work. That's it. Like that's which I guess for some people that's just normal life. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I know Filipe. He's a little party animal, dude. He's just throwing bashes left and right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
no
more touching your boys in April, dude.
Yeah, no more. We
can't be done.
Can't have more than 10 people here, which is like the average.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. I couldn't. So before in this quarantine, I always told people like, no, I'm a very introverted person. Like I'm a very I like my space. Like I don't even like going to like parties with a lot of people. Like that's not my thing. And I think that's still true, but there's definitely a side of me now that's just like, hey buddy, you still think you're an introvert? Would sure be cool to have some human contact right now. Would be nice. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? But I couldn't imagine having constant parties.
It's interesting, It's more like for the most part we just kind of hang out, and there's a lot of room here, so it's not like everybody's just sitting on top of each other screaming. There's rooms, so we'll just have maybe 2 or 3 people in the back like playing a board game or something, and then like 5 people watching a movie, and then 2 people in the kitchen or something,
Yeah.
But like spread out, it's kind of nice because everyone here isn't like super extroverted. When I say parties or like gatherings, it's not like a rager every time.
Yeah.
Like
I've heard stories. And now granted, to be fair, they're only stories because of those things happening. So
scheduled events are different, but like just people hanging out, it's fine.
So what was that, Steven?
He just scheduled events are different. We just have the different tiers,
Yeah,
all right, guys. If there's a Facebook invitation involved, expect at least 1 ambulance, 13 White Claws, and 1 snapping turtle to be involved.
Well, so there's one time we did have a cop, a dumpster fire, and a beer bong involved.
Nice.
That was a good night. But yeah, no, it's just kind of weird, like having to be conscious of having people around. It's not so much now that we don't like have parties or anything. It's just like, oh, I wish I could invite so and so over, but we can't. There's a stay-at-home order. So
yeah, I mean, when I was still working, I would still on my way home. Well, I guess my weird thing was because my county did theirs before the statewide one. But I was still allowed to go to work, so I'd go to work, and then on my way back from work, I'm like, I'm gonna stop at my friend's place because I haven't seen them in forever, so I'm gonna go over there, hang out, and talk to them, and then I'd go home. Part of me still feels like this is bad, don't do this, but part of me still feels like I want to still do that and still just go see people. But that defeats the whole purpose of what we're supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just a little weird.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think like we. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
Oh shit! I don't know. Okay, I think we would be okay in a situation where they're like, listen, just stay home for a month, I think we'd probably be okay. Just off that concept alone, we do not interact with a lot of people. Like, we don't go out, we don't fucking party, we don't invite people over. So I'm like, that's probably fine. If I didn't have to worry about like eviction or like starvation, I'd be like, dude, I'm riding this out clean, dude. Easy, no problem. But those other two things, yeah, that was good.
Well, starvation is quite concerning.
Yeah,
that one's not so good.
I'm gonna be honest with you, that's like on my list of priority concerns. That's super low. I don't think that's going to happen. Or at least I don't think... Granted, everybody's situation is different. I guess for me, that's not a major concern. The eviction thing... I've been wanting to move out of this place anyway. And I'm sure the market is going to be amazing once this thing does roll over. If you're... For buyers, it's going to suck for people who are trying to, like... rent these places, but for people who are trying to either buy real estate or rent real estate, it's gonna be fucking amazing. But I think I don't know if this is just me and what I've been used to in terms of food. Before things kind of went into effect, I bought a insane amount of like steak and like beef, and then I bought a decent amount of chicken and whatnot, and I've been grilling that stuff up, and it's been fine so far. Granted, we are on the 8th day of April, and we still have a couple more, so we'll see.
Yeah, I got some time. I mean, we only go out to get literally just to get groceries.
I was going to ask.
I go out to go to work.
So where, if you don't mind me asking, where do you shop for groceries?
We'll go usually to Aldi.
Okay. All right, so
they just have super cheap shit everywhere. They take everything out of the back and just throw it out in the front, and it's usually pretty easy to get stuff there. Yeah.
I saw an article about how Walmart is like limiting people per square foot of like their stores or something. I don't know if is that the case everywhere, or
I think so it's the within fire code, like an occupancy limit, they reduce it, I think, by 70%. So every like building that has one of those is reduced by 70%. I don't think that it's just Walmart, but there are a few places that are applying that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stores that are doing that kind of thing, and a lot of them are doing, I guess people call like the IKEA tactic, where you just kind of go, literally like, you go in the door and you go through a line, and you're just going through the store in a specific path, and you just pick everything up that you need on the way, and then you're just out the door instead of just scattered around the entire time.
Yeah, that's how Aldi used to be. That's how Aldi is in Europe. It's kind of a European design.
I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot. That's I don't know if I'm this way when I go into I guess I don't shop at Walmart too much. I do shop there for basically anything that I can't get at Costco. I'll go to Walmart and grab it from there. But when I walk in there, there's something that just like you end up walking straight anyway. Like you end up just kind of just going straight from the entrance straight back, unless you specifically need something on the left or right. But like, I don't know. That seems like the natural way things should be, is just kind of like a little snake path out in and out of the store.
Right. I mean, it's definitely bad for me because if I'm, on my way out of Aldi and I'm grabbing like a couple like, fruit and grain bars, and then I'm like, fuck, I really wanted Pringles.
Going and back,
like,
but
I look,
gotta go outside.
Yeah, there's like 30 people behind me in line, all 6 feet apart. I'm like, shit, no, this week, bro, fuck.
Yeah, you get the Pringles on the way home, or go back to the line.
Are places still doing like drive-through stuff, or like not drive-through, but delivery stuff? Basically, really?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. We got a pizza delivered a couple days ago. A lot of places are also doing like curbside pickup, like not even like drive-through places. I went to AutoZone today, and we got our parts like taken to the curb, like in a bag.
That's great.
We ordered I think Wingstop the other day, and the door knocked, and as I was like going outside, I heard the dude running back down the stairs. So he just like left the food on our door, and I'm like, hey, man, that's fine.
That's what they're doing. It's contactless. It's really.
I get
really
it.
awkward.
It probably sucks for tips and whatnot. I guess you can do all that stuff digitally.
Yeah, you just have to run the automatic tip, or
so
you just put $5 out the door
and be like, "Yo, dude."
Just leave it at the door when you order and hope they pick it up on the way up.
When we ordered from Pizza Hut, it actually calculated a tip, and you get to pick the tip, and it'll add it to your checkout.
I'm so happy that you said Pizza Hut because the last couple of days, every time I bring up Pizza Hut in terms of pizza, people have that at such a low tier on their tier list of pizza, and it drives me nuts. They're like, no, you got Papa John's, and then fucking all this shit. And I'm like, Pizza Hut, to me, is like at least top 2. It's
Pizza Hut is pretty fucking good, dude. I'll die on that hill. Okay, people that talk shit about Pizza Hut, they're fucking liars, dude.
Have you ever gotten a flatbread pizza, like a pan? I don't know, it's pan crust.
Yeah, the deep dish or the pan pizzas.
The flat fucking thin crust. That's what it's called.
Oh yeah, thin crust.
That's the quality pizza that I've. Everywhere else I get that from, it's like, yeah, it's thin crust, all right, but your shit's sliding off of the fucking crust because it's soggy as hell. Pizza Hut, it's crispy, it's nice, it holds all the shit on top of the crust. It's good pizza. I don't get the hate for Pizza Hut.
You know, I think a thin crust pizza is pretty good, but I do have an internal struggle with ordering it because it feels like I'm ordering a third of a pizza for the same price.
I guess.
And I'm like, it's so much less bread, dude. But I'm paying $10 still. What is this? What the fuck am I doing? You just, value proposition per cups of flour used.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to ultimately is like your standard average pizza is like 1 part bread, 1 part whatever goes on the bread.
Sure.
And if you're looking at thin crust, it's like 1 part bread, like 3 parts whatever goes on the bread, and then pan pizza is the other way around.
It's true.
So it's really, it's also, I guess it's kind of also like the Oreo paradox. You try to figure out your sweet spot of Oreo, like cookie to.
I'll tell you my sweet spot, dude. My sweet spot.
I think it's
no cream.
No cream.
No cream.
A chocolate.
They
cookie.
sold if they sold just straight Oreo cookies, dude. I would be dead from eating them already. But the cream is like, that shit gets in my way. And then people are like, this is double stuffed, which is bullshit because double stuffed is standard stuff now. And now they're like triple stuff, most stuff. I'm like, what the fuck?
It seemed like that happened over time. Like, I don't think when they first launched double stuff, it was actually double stuff. And like, they've just kind of like balanced out over the years. Like, I might be crazy, but I feel like that's been the case.
Conspiracy?
I think this is a conspiracy.
Are we homebrewing? Okay, the Oreo conspiracy.
Measure the stuff, dude. Measure
how
much stuff you're getting.
I wish I could.
Every year they've removed 5% of the cream.
Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. I'm looking this up right now.
I'll tell you what. A couple years ago, this was in like 2010. I got an email from Starkist Tuna saying that they were opening a class action lawsuit against, or there was a class action lawsuit being opened against Starkist because they had been putting 3.6 ounces of tuna in their 4.0 cans.
Wow.
And I was like, sure, man, I'll jump in and sue Starkist, dude. You got me. And they were like, okay, if we win, what do you want? $20 or $40 worth of tuna? And I was like, I guess $20, but the tuna sounds pretty fucking enticing. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of tuna. And I just didn't hear anything from him for forever. And I was convinced, because I had moved from the place I had lived at when that happened, I was convinced that whoever lived there just got $40 worth of tuna sent to them and they have no idea why. And I was like kind of really jealous just thinking about that. And then this was like maybe 2 months ago. I saw on PayPal $9 show up from like Starkist. And I was like, this is crazy. First of all, I don't know where the other $11 went. That's bullshit. But I actually got money for tuna, I guess.
Jesus.
So we got there.
I know I've had the opportunity to be a part of those different like lawsuits or whatever, but I'm so lazy. Like I just don't like. There was a CPU that I bought, an AMD CPU, and my buddy Neil was like, "Hey, dude, we all bought those CPUs. Check out this thing, dude. You can make $2." And I was like, "Yeah, but then I have to fill out all this stuff." He's like, "Yeah, but you get this money," and I'm like, "This is not worth my time." It wasn't actually $2. It was like maybe $20-something. It was
it $40 worth of tuna?
No,
that's the only thing that matters. Well,
No.
then why even bother? Why the fuck even bother?
Exactly.
Don't even wake me up in the morning if I'm not getting at least $30 worth of Starkist tuna for whatever the fuck you're telling me to do.
Oh my god!
I don't even want to hear it. That's my motto.
What are you hoarding tuna? Are we?
There, you look in his closet, and there's just like cans and cans. It's like, yeah, we got to go back to Aldi's. Can't have half a closet full of this stuff.
I'm leaving this quarantine with I don't know, mercury poisoning, I guess.
What are you guys doing to pass time right now? Like what? But like I assume Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
I've been streaming.
That's
and working on online content.
That's cool.
Working on starting some YouTube videos going and doing stuff like that.
That's cool.
So it's been good. Yeah,
that's dope.
Before my car broke down, I was doing some recording.
What kind of stuff? Yeah.
Just getting some new material together for one of my bands.
That's cool.
But yes, you know, it's a little tricky because his studio's in DeBerry.
Yeah, that's not
a bit of a hike. Yeah, it would take me a while to, get there. But hopefully that becomes a thing soon. Again, we'll figure that out.
I think I may have had a very unfortunate epiphany the other day. I don't think that I like streaming. I don't think I will be streaming anymore. So like
what?
So first of all, the anxiety of having to stream in the first place gets to me a lot. That's why I don't stream that often. I end up talking myself out of doing it a lot. And then when I do it, after I'm done, I never feel good. I always feel shitty after I'm done. I'm just like, why did I do that? This is
why shitty in what way? What do you mean? Oh god, Flip is turning into two anime men.
I'm trying to figure out what happened to my Discord.
All right. I mean, we can still hear you. Oh, there he is. What was that, Steven?
I was asking what you meant by you feel bad. Like what feels bad?
Oh man. This is gonna sound really bad. There's no way around.
Listen, that's a different show.
Yeah,
that's not.
I texted him the other day. Actually, no, that was today. There's part of me that knows that because I'm starting from zero, that my streams are gonna be different than they were back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a part of my head that knows that, but there's also a part of my head that's like, hey Joe, you used to pull in like fucking 15, 20 something viewers. Like what's going on, buddy? I'm like, I know that it's because the channel's brand new. Like I know that in my head, but it doesn't turn that side of my brain off, I guess.
Yeah.
And so when I'm done with it, it's just like, yeah, literally no one saw this. Like, it's like, what? You could have been making a YouTube video. You could have been doing something else that was more productive. And then there's also a lot of like, I consume a lot of like streamer-esque content, like whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch. And the advice, if there's advice, I guess, is usually something to the tune of go be famous somewhere else before you come to Twitch. Because Twitch is so saturated and it's impossible to grow at this point. And I think what really sucks about that is I grew when it wasn't that way and stopped. Yeah. So like I kind of gave that up. But that's all like, I guess.
I mean, that's all fair. I think that's all super fair, honestly. Like that's why even as of late, I was like, I haven't really been doing it because I haven't wanted to, and I haven't just sat down and actually done it. But I'm like, I need to start getting like YouTube stuff up too, because doing just Twitch, it feels like just like set up for failure to not be putting content out there that people can see all the time. At least
there's something about Twitch that, and it's also, I think I've changed. Like, I think because I've watched a lot of my old YouTube. I don't really go back and watch my old Twitch highlights and stuff, but I can tell from my old channel to me now, completely different animal. Like I was a lot more unhinged, and I think that was funnier. Whereas
punching table.
Oh, dude, I'll link you guys to the old channel if you haven't seen any of this stuff. The jokes and stuff that I made back then, like, it's bad,
dude.
But
I look back at my old privatized like videos on my YouTube from when I did Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, and I was like, man, if anyone actually had these like downloaded, I would never be able to run for public office.
Yeah.
Like, it could never happen. I mean, I guess now looking at current politics, I might be elected, but
I do want to talk about that because I was talking to my brother about that, and I think we can get into that a little bit. I love it. It's just
politics.
Shit. It's not that, but we don't have to get to that now. I just think I guess I used to think of it as a bad thing. Like I changed for the negative. But I think I've changed more so for my own peace of mind, and my it's not as more entertaining, but to me there's more substance here than there was then. So like it sucks because now I don't think I have the what's the word I'm looking for? The characteristics of a streamer, or I don't have that in me anymore. But the payoff, I think, is so far. I think it's worth it. I struggle with that sometimes. I worry about whether or not it's like, well, maybe it's still there, and I had to figure out how to get back there, or if I should just keep going down this path. But
yeah, that seems like a really difficult thing for. I mean, I obviously from what you're saying, and I've definitely felt the same way. Is like when you make content at any point, like in the past, and then you take like a long break or you want to change it in some way, making new stuff, it's this like constant, like, well, I kind of like what I'm doing now more, but I don't like, maybe I had more success or different kind of success doing what I was doing before too. So it's like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Did you have a moment like that with like your music or anything like that, Flip? Like,
so I actually had a YouTube channel when I was 12, and I had tutorials on how to make guns out of paper. So I'm having a really hard time.
Steven's reaction to that was great.
That was a real. I had to go through the whole sentence for it to be okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're good. Yeah, I'm just having, like, if I did go back to YouTube, I think my content would be different. I would hope. But yeah, I mean, with music, I suppose I think it's gotten to that point with one of my bands where we sort of played like a long series of shows, and then we kind of just put that band on the back burner while we were like doing other stuff in our lives. And we went, I think, almost 6 months without practicing. Yeah. So, the iron has kind of cooled, I guess.
Yeah. This quarantine doesn't help either, I would imagine.
And yeah, exactly. And that was before the quarantine. Yeah. So, bands don't exist right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there was this whole thing I saw people were doing like digital live shows.
Yeah.
For certain bands were doing that as instead of like their tours that all got immediately canceled.
Yeah, no, every tour got canceled immediately. I remember there was like 2 or 3 days on Facebook, all I was seeing on my wall was just like events being canceled and people talking about it. But yeah, no, everything's off now, and they're even doing festivals and stuff online. There's this punk festival in Gainesville that happens every year called Fest. They're instead of having it like it's Fest. There it is. They're just going to be like streaming like series of the bands, just like different like lineups, I guess, for a couple of days. Should be interesting.
I've been doing like my MMA stuff online, which sucks. I love it, and I appreciate all the instructors and what they're doing. Like, it's the reason why I still have that membership there. I appreciate the work that they're putting into making sure people are just doing their thing. But it sucks compared to like being in a gym training with another human being. Like, you can only shadow box for so long before you start to kind of feel the difference, I guess.
Honestly,
yeah, probably fair.
I could see that. I've had a lot of experience with martial arts as well. Like, there's definitely a physical element to it.
Yeah.
Not so much just like the movements and following like instruction. There, your instructor could come up and just adjust your stance or show you how to like move in a certain way, and you just lose that.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's happening a lot.
I'm sure when I do get back in there's benefits from what we're doing, like the whole online thing. Like, it's not pointless. Like, there's good things that I've learned in the time that we've been doing it that I just feel like I would have learned a lot faster in the gym, I guess.
Do you feel like you're in the metabolic time chamber right now?
I feel like I'm in like the first floor of hell. This sucks. Like, this is this is like, it's not fun, man. It's really, really brutal. Like, I have things that distract. Like, I've been playing Minion Masters. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys have even seen that game before.
No.
I don't even know how to describe it. It basically like Hearthstone meets like Clash of Clans meets like, I don't like League. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's some simple but like complex fun, I guess, that I've been jamming.
Is this podcast sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends?
Dude, shit. If it was, I would probably be in a much better mood. Just in general.
It comes up. It always has to come up.
They throw out some absurd amount of money to people.
They sure fucking do.
I mean, they have an absurd amount of money, so I get it, kind of.
I mean, why wouldn't they? They're the number one mobile game in the App Store. Of course they got...
I remember... You guys know Internet Historian? That YouTube channel? He did an ad for it, and so good. I love channels that, like, they don't take their ads seriously at all. And, like, he's one of those guys who's like, it's a MMO PvP DVD. Like, he's just like, just does not actually care to sell the thing. It's amazing that he still has that sponsorship because of the shit that he says about it. But, like, I guess he's so big that they're like, all right, cool, you can talk shit about a game as long as people are.
There's definitely people
it.
who get away with that, where they're just like, hey, we know you're big enough where just mention us, even if it's a fucking meme.
Yeah,
even if you just roast us, whatever. And then there's other people who they're like, and today the stream's brought to you by Me Undies. My favorite pair of Me Undies.
You see the hard cut to them, like, I wear them all the time, and then they stand up.
Like I have.
Just
I love wearing this mattress. My favorite.
I thought about that a lot with the podcast too, because I think at some point that will become a thing. Like, there's a website that I'm looking into that connects podcasters and like online creators with sponsors, which is very nice. But I was like, how do I implement that into this thing? Like, I think I'd just do the Joe Rogan thing and just record it like at a different time and just slap it on the video or the audio at some point. Like, I don't.
Yeah. I've got an idea for you.
Okay.
What if you take your sponsorship and you start off the podcast talking about your sponsor just real quick, and then you turn the cameras over to your hostie or whatever, and you just kind of ask them about the sponsor as well. And you get some of that information in the beginning, and then you just roll on with the podcast.
Maybe because so there's the X factor there of they may not be in on it, and like imagine I'm like, Blue Apron I started making these meals with Blue Apron, dude. It's pretty cool. Like, I've been chopping them up. It's really, really awesome. Have you ever heard of Blue Apron? They're just like, nah. I'm like, cool. Dude. And then like they just like, no, I did that, but HelloFresh had a better deal, so I actually have been using HelloFresh. And then I'm just like, let me cut that out of the.
Yeah,
like,
no, wait, but
I'd have to tell them
HelloFresh sponsorship.
But what if I need it for Blue Apron?
You say, guys, I need to tell you about purple mattresses.
Oh my god.
And the person next to you is like, oh, I got Casper, dude. Casper's insane. Casper's insane. And you're like, well,
but
purple has patented cooling technology. And they're like, no, dude, on my Casper, I've literally never felt more comfortable in my sleep, actually. And you're like, if you put eggs on a Casper mattress, they will crack, bro. Not on purple, okay? The eggs are safe on the purple mattress, okay?
There it is. Right there.
I'd be very scared, actually. If I had a real... I mean, I say real like I have any. If I had any ads or any sponsorships, I would be so scared of the shit I would say.
It'd be so terrifying. I would like to believe that I do my best to make them fun and at least entertaining.
Yeah.
Because there's been... Like, there's some, like, you know, there's videos that you watch, especially on YouTube. There's people that you watch that, like, when they have an ad, you know you're skipping that shit. And then there's other people that 100%. When they have an ad, you're like, shit. Like, this is about to be hilarious. Like, Bill Burr does a really good job of that. Like, he loses sponsors left and right because of the shit that he says. But, like, he's hilarious. So, like, I don't mind listening to his, like, ads in his podcast and whatnot. He throws those bad boys right in the middle.
If you're a viewer... And I'm just pulling this out of my ass, but we're just going to run it. Whatever. If you're like a viewer or someone like consuming like a podcast or a video and an ad starts, the deciding factor to like whether or not you roll your fucking eyes is whether or not that person is like self-aware.
Yeah.
So like if they're just like wholeheartedly like,
this shit is
by
great.
The way, I want to talk to you about Audible. And you're like, holy fuck. But if someone's like, listen, dude, I've gone through 1,000 mattresses this year. None of them work. Garbage. I was sleeping on the floor a week ago. And then Casper sent me a box in the mail. I didn't even ask for it. And I opened it and I sleep like a baby now, dude. If you sleep on anything other than a Casper, just jump off a... Well, you lose your sponsorship immediately.
Dude, you say jump off and the hard cuts. Yeah.
Jump off, and then the technical difficulties.
Yeah. I think that shit would be. I can't wait for that moment because I would like to believe that the first one would be really fun. I don't know what that first. Oh, that's the other thing is that web. I think the website's called Medium, but it's spelled weird. But what's funny is like the ads or the companies that are there that offer the ads. It's Blue Apron and it's like HelloFresh and Harry's Razors and all that stuff, but there's also like dildos, like fucking what was that website? God,
Adam and Eve.
There's even the one that's like clearly what was it? There's a website, there's a dating website that's specifically for people to cheat on their wives or something like that. That exists. I can't remember what it was called. It's really bad, but like there's all kinds of like garbage companies on there too. So I also wonder, like, one of them is gonna be like, hey dude, all right, here's the deal. I understand you're starting off, you've got a small channel here, I'm gonna cut you a deal. I'm gonna give you $200,000. I need you to do an ad read for I'm trying to think of like the worst thing.
I mean, imagine you're doing your podcast. You've been doing it for a while, and you've had your videos, and you open your email one day, and it's like sponsorship opportunity. You're like, oh my god, dude!
Man.
Finally, you open it, and it's like, hey, Adam and Eve here. And then you're like, okay, sure, I guess I'm cool with that, dude. I'm good. And they're like, okay, here's your script, and you're like, okay, they have dildos in every size. They send it to your house and the box doesn't even say dildo on it.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, back to my Minecraft Let's Play, guys.
Honestly, Adam and Eve would probably be one of the best ones. I would have fun with that.
Be like,
I'd love, that'd be fun. That'd be a hell of a lot of fun.
That'd be a good.
I'm trying to think of one that would be just terrible. I wish I could remember this dating site.
The General, maybe.
The insurance. Oh no!
Just not even interesting enough to make fun of. Yeah, just full like, hey guys, oil change. Everyone needs one. Get one. Thanks.
I'm upset that this is a thing. I typed in infidelity.
Use my promo code for windshield wiper
Ashley
blades.
Madison. That's what it is.
Ashley Madison. Yeah, of course. That's been around for
a long time, which is wild.
So speaking of sponsorships, I've just had this idea running through my mind while I listen to you guys.
Let's hear it.
How do we feel about like the concept of having sponsored tattoos? Like, there are people that have gotten companies tattooed on their bodies and been sponsored for them.
Totally fine with that. I think that's Like I have no issue with that. I guess personally. Would I do it? Probably not.
I mean,
it depends on where the tattoo is, what the product is, and how much I actually care about the product. Like something like that. Then again, it would have to be somewhere visible, right? Because otherwise, why would they
exactly
they pay for it? I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any company that I'd be like, yeah, let me get that on my fucking arm or some shit.
Man, I wouldn't blame anyone else for it, and I guess there's not really anything wrong with it, but there's a part of me that just so deeply, so genuinely despises like brand loyalty that like it sounds like the start of like a dystopian novel to me, being like a company paid me to get their brand on my body, which like obviously anyone, you can do whatever you want. I'm not like, no, don't do it. But I guess it started a couple years ago when like the Wendy's thing started on Twitter, you know, like, okay, I'm 5 steps ahead.
You talking about how like their social media like started roasting other people, like
right. How like Wendy's on Twitter would be like, oh, fucking McDonald's who megalol, and everyone would laugh and they'd be like, haha, Wendy, you're so clever, and then they'd be like, Wendy roast my ass, and they're like, your fucking hairline's receding, stop malding, Baldo, and they'd just be like, lol, I love Wendo. And I'm just like, dude, behind that tweet is just like a random dude being paid by this giant fucking company, and it's full like, hello, fellow teenagers, like, what does the market research say the kids want to hear? And you got people like, oh, bro, I'm so happy Steakums acknowledged me on Twitter today. Oh, dude, like, the Burger King finally said hi to me and talked to me about anime. And I'm like, what the fuck? All they want is for you to go buy their fucking disgusting-ass 10-piece nuggets for $1.50. This is not it. They don't give a fuck about you,
talking about Wendy's nuggets here?
I hate that shit.
Wendy's nuggets?
What do you want to talk about Wendy's
nuggets? No. Are you saying that they're disgusting?
Oh, I'm talking about Burger King nuggets.
Oh, okay.
Full, like, Scotch Brite, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. They're no good. Wendy's nuggets are fine.
I was going to say, I
don't
agree
have a problem
with that.
Wendy's
I hate Wendy's nuggets, but...
A Burger King nugget feels like they took it out of the freezer and then put it in a pool and then served it to you. We skipped fried, by the way. They're just freezer to liquid to bag to customer. They're fucking terrible.
Just some chlorine-infused chicken? Is that what
absolutely. You've never seen a soggier fucking piece of chicken in your entire life than a Burger King nugget. You could actually just pour some Dawn soap onto it and just wash all your dishes with a Burger King 10-piece, dude.
What are your thoughts on the whole like advertisement tattoo thing, Flip? Do you think
so? I find it interesting.
I was waiting for you to be like, yeah, I think it's cool, and it's just fucking Dairy Queen.
You know, I feel like I might know Flip's answer. Yeah. I gotta guess.
Well, all right. So one of my friends has always joked about getting a Walmart.com tattoo.
See, no, that's not one I do.
But you know, I really have to think about it. Like, I don't want to get like actually stupid tattoos. Barring the I4 eyesore, that was like a one-time thing.
That's a good tattoo, though.
Yeah, I did get that horrible building on my leg forever. But if I got like an email, like say from like StarKist, and they're just like, hey, you know, if you get a tuna can tattooed on your ass, we'll give you $1,000 a week for the rest of your life, I'd fucking do it.
Easy.
Yeah,
like,
easy.
That's the thing, though, is like the placement. If any company, if most companies offered me $1,000 a week to get anything tattooed on my ass, I'm gonna do that. Like, it's like if it's on my like forearm or like my calf.
I think I'd still do it. $1,000 a week for no reason whatsoever than having a can of tuna on your arm. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. How big is it though? That's the question, right? Well, not even. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'd probably do it regardless. Like,
I feel like I need to be clear. I would do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel good about it. But it would be the same as like if a stranger came up to me and they were like, "I'll give you $10 right now for no reason to just call yourself a fucking idiot." And I'd be like, I'm fucking dumb, dude. Give me the ship it. Because I'm like, you know what? That $10 will be good to put to probably bad use, but it'll be put to use. There's that. But I won't feel good about it. But I'll do it.
I guess. Okay. I'm trying to think of a company that I would say no now, because when I first started thinking about this, I was like, oh, it'd have to be a very specific company, like. But now I'm kind of just like, yeah, most companies I'd probably do that for. I guess the question is it actually $1,000? Like, how much is the average for like a?
What's the minimum?
I'm looking this up
taxes,
now. Yeah. Like, what? How would I search for this?
I have no idea. I know this is a thing that exists.
Body tattoo.
Just like imagine turning into a walking fucking NASCAR, dude.
Advertisement.
Yeah.
Or just M&Ms and fucking Dale Earnhardt Jr. tattooed on your back, and you're like, guess this is who I am now.
All right, let's.
You have to lean into it.
Privately owned by Papa John.
Oh, it's a one-time thing.
Is it?
I don't know about that. It's like the average is like $5,000, but it's like a one-time thing. This guy got paid in like a lifetime advertisement, but that shit's on his forehead, dude. Like, I'm not trying to do that. What company is that? Holy shit! All right, bud, you have a quality picture. You're a pretty bad advertiser. Home video. It's a porn website. That's hilarious.
Wow.
It's xxx.homevideo.com. That's what this gentleman decided to get on his forehead. But he made $200,000 a year so far. So, I mean, hey. I mean, like,
you know, I really think at that point you do start have to weighing those costs. You have to weigh the costs still.
Yeah. Really? Not on your forehead?
I don't know.
There's
because
no
$200,000 is so much money. But if I just had fucking XXX home video on my forehead, I'd be like, is it even worth living at this point? No, even with this much money,
you could wear
for me. It would. I'm on that side. I would not do that. There's no amount of money. For me to put a company on my forehead. There's not a sum. There's no. I don't think there. Yeah, like because I don't even think I'd have like a normal tattoo on my forehead, let alone a company's tattoo. Like, that's just me. But
you know, I'll agree to that. Yeah. I don't think I would put a tattoo on my forehead. I'll say it. I know it's bold. I'd say it. I'll say it.
I think I would do it.
I believe you.
However,
I believe
however, I have to think, there's a lot of stuff you can do. You can just cover the tattoo if you're trying to look presentable or certain
with like a bandana.
Or like a
you
hat.
You could just foundation it up. You could get the XXXhardcore.com or whatever, and then just, hey man, $20 a foundation a month for $200,000 a year. Hey, dude, clean, bro. Clean.
There it is. See, that's the tech.
I don't think I would even do the thought of having to put that on like a daily thing would be, I don't know. That's worth a lot more than $200,000 to me. Like,
a lot of women would disagree.
But they're not covering. Well, actually, for some of them, they probably are. All right, yeah, you're right. Maybe that's true. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird about that. I forgot the thing. Oh, now I remember.
You're sounding a little weak-spirited right now, Joe. The quarantine getting to you?
Oh, quarantine's fucking me up real nice, dude. It's not nice. It's not been a good time. I have, however, resolved myself to I purchased this game a long time ago.
Left alone.
All right, so do you know the story behind this game?
Not at all.
All right, I'm gonna tell you this, and then we can talk about Trump for a second. So basically,
oh my god,
it's not really about Trump. It's more so about like I think his presidency is going to change things for the worse, unfortunately. But in any case,
wow, that sounds like fun.
yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So Left Alive, this game, basically what happened was Konami took so long to make a Metal Gear Solid game that Square just was like, yeah, but what if we just made one? So they hired the artist from the guy who did all the like art and stuff. That's why this looks exactly like a fucking thing. And then they proceeded to make this game. This game came out in the same year that Anthem did. This game scored the worst game of that year. It lost to Anthem. Yeah. It is really bad. Like just horrifically bad. I got it for $5, so I figured I'd do a little gameplay thing out of it.
Honestly, I feel like as of late, and there's like obvious examples of this not being true, but it feels like lately, like it's really hard to just get a terrible game. Like there's a lot of like, this is a bad game.
Yeah.
But like we all played games on like PlayStation 2 and like 360 and Wii, and back then it was like a 9-1 ratio of like shit game to like playable. Yeah, they were just like, look guys, Wheel of Fortune and Coraline and the Addams Family Monopoly and iPhone Simulator, and you're like, what the fuck? And then they'd be like, oh, here's like Metal Gear Solid 4. You're like, whoa, wow, finally. But now it's like a game comes out and you're like, it's not great. I wouldn't play it. Like even things people say are bad, like Andromeda and Anthem, are like technically playable. They're just not very good, and they like don't work half the time. But even that, you're like, it's still like, technically a game.
Dude, I was on the Anthem hype day one when it came out. I picked that bad boy up. I was like, I like Iron Man. Time to fly around.
Yeah.
And
it's BioWare. What can they? How can they go wrong?
So like
twice.
I don't know. That game, it's just, there's no... I would consider that a bad game. Like, I put that and... what's that other game that came?
For me, that was No Man's Sky.
Interesting. Yeah. At least that game had a happy ending, right? It updated to being decent, I heard.
They got there eventually.
But
they did get there eventually.
By the time they were at a playable point, Subnautica was a thing, and people were just like, I'm gonna play that. So
I know this is like, I know I say it as a joke, but this is actually very contentious. I played No Man's Sky the day it came out, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was okay, but I wasn't riding the hype. Yeah, I wasn't like riding the hype. Like it came out. I think the one thing that I'm like is bad. It was $60. That was bad. Yeah. If it was like 40, I'd be like, this is easy
$40.
Because it was what it was. And then I constructed this whole narrative about like why No Man's Sky was like secretly like a work of art, and it was like, it's supposed to emulate like the emptiness of space, and like, you know, how you're supposed to feel isolated and blah blah. And then they're just like, okay, we're adding multiplayer, we're adding base building, we're gonna add, and I was like, oh, never mind.
It's like, okay,
it's just you just didn't make the game. Never mind.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah,
too much credit.
Art is subjective, I guess. You
were not.
Art is subjective.
Let me ask you. So, have you played No Man's Sky recently, or like after they did all their updates or whatever?
I haven't played No Man's Sky since the Next or Beyond updates came out.
What about you, Flip?
About the same.
Yeah. Okay. I have not played the game.
I turned it on after the first update. But when I loaded it up, I was like exactly where I was at when I stopped playing. So I was like, I have no idea. They're just like, guys, we added a freighter ship that can follow you around across the universe. And I started back with like my dinky ship and just a full inventory of rocks. And I was like, I don't want to learn how to get the freighter. I'm just not going to play. That's fine. They were free updates, so I'm like, I don't lose anything by trying. Except I guess hard drive space probably wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
That happens to me with a lot of games, I think, especially on Steam. Like a game will get an update,
I was
and I'll
gonna
be
say
out
that.
of it for a while,
Yeah,
and I'll come back to it and I'll look at it, and it's just like 300 patches since the last time I played, and I'm like, okay, so where do I even start?
Warframe is the only one that gets me back in consistently. When they have big updates, I always play Warframe again.
It's losing me, dude. I keep finding myself launching the game, picking a frame, getting into a mission, and then immediately aborting the mission and then just doing anything else. Like the turning point for me was the Empyrean update. I was so hyped for that shit, man. I was like, hell yeah, we can fly in space now. We got our ships and stuff. This is gonna be dope. Played like 4 missions and I was like, it's a little bad. Like,
yeah, eventually, like, that's definitely a thing, is like you don't play Warframe for a while and then you start to romanticize it in your head and you think about all the shiny gold stuff and killing 100 enemies with one button click, and you're like, that game's insane. And then you go back into the game and they're like, okay, we're gonna need about 700,000 of this material, and you're like, ooh, I only get 14 per run. That's not very good.
Yeah, that's that game.
That's gonna be a problem. Yeah.
So I think you guys want to shift topics here to
Yo, I don't know who you guys is, but I am excited.
Okay, so
listen,
let me
people don't know me as a very political person, but I'll entertain this.
Let me preface this because to me it's not a political conversation. It's more of like just who this man is as a person and how I think things will change. So I was talking to my brother earlier about, like, I think that like a lot of people have said, like, oh, well, Trump's presidency is overall good because now more people are paying attention to politics and whatnot. I get that. That makes sense. I understand that thought process of like, hey, we fucked up now, but now people are paying attention and we probably won't fuck up again, right? Like, I
definitely is an argument.
That is,
I don't know if it's a good argument,
but like I understand that logic.
Right.
Recently, I've been thinking, I'm like, I don't think that outweighs what I think negatively will impact. And what I think is the big negative is, I think that because of his presidency, people are going to be afraid of even putting up someone who doesn't have a political background. And I think that will be a highly negative thing. Because, so like, regardless of whether or not you like Andrew Yang or not, I really like the concept of someone like him running for president. And I think that Trump's presidency is going to make it impossible for someone like that again. Like, it's just not going to be, because people see it and go, oh, well, the last time we did this, we got this fucking maniac. Like, maybe not do that again. And then we end up with the cycle of like career politicians again, which in my opinion sucks. But yeah, that was the thought. Like that was about
my first concern, I guess, is like, you know, I don't think we'll learn that lesson if we ever learn it. I don't think we'll learn that lesson for another 4 years, unfortunately, especially after today. Because at this point, with Bernie Sanders dropping out of the race, and it's now just left to 2 75-year-old dementia-ridden sack of fucking mashed potatoes, there's really no winning. We're full Game of Thrones level all over again. There's no winning. I mean, there's nothing to say. Nothing good to say.
All right, so that's it. Like I said at the beginning, that's going to be the end of this one. There's going to be a part 2 that's going to come out here shortly. So be on the lookout for that. And that one's just going to be basically, Flip's at the beginning of it for a little bit, but like I said before, his phone died, so he drops out of it right at the beginning there. And it's just Steven and my stealth. My stealth? Stealth is not a word. Stealth is a word. Stealth is like some ebonics, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that one. And thanks for watching. Take care.